Not quite mustering the troops just yet because they're not back at work, the Lions, but the Lions women are, and they're going beautifully. And we've got the CEO, Gregg Swann, joining us this morning. Good. Hello, mate. How are you?
Good, Pat. How are you? Hey, Heels.
G'day, Greg. Hey, Greg.
How are you?
Do you think you've settled in Brisbane now? How long have you been here and how's it been? And is there any thought of returning anywhere else?
No, I'm good. I'm, 7 years here? No, I'm staying and, there's a little bit of talk of people going back to Melbourne, but not me. I'm staying here and I love it. It's great.
Oh, beauty, mate.
Well, that's what we want to hear. That's exactly right. There's been a few job vacancies in the CEO spot, hasn't there, recently? And obviously your name was tossed up.
Yeah, well, there's three at the minute. So there's North and Essendon and now Collingwood. And I've been to one of them, so I don't think they'll have me back. But the other, I'm not sure. But no, as I said, I'm loving it up here and got a little bit of work still to finish. So hopefully we can do that in the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's a question we discussed in the past. I mean, it ran Collingwood, which is probably the biggest football franchise in the country. How was it when you made the step up to running the Lions?
Yeah, that was a lot different. And more just about the coverage and the passion and the things that happen in Melbourne with Collingwood. I mean, even I was just down there for the carnival, and people still talk to you about things that happen. And that's been over 10 years ago that I was there, and people still come up to you and da 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 da. So it's really a lot different. Obviously, when I came here, it was it's a Broncos town. Now we'll see how the Dolphins go, but yeah, we've made good inroads there from a codes point of view. That the Lions are now pretty much in front of mind with a lot of people, and we've done well there. So it's getting more like what happens in Melbourne, but it's not the same still. It's religion down there, and it's not quite at that stage yet. But hopefully we get there.
It was one thing to be in Melbourne, but to be in Collingwood, that's even double. You'd have a bushfire every week, I reckon.
Yeah, there was always, and Ed was the president. He caused a few. So it was, and then we'd sort of get into fixing a few things. We had a few players in those days. There's a few boys that used to get into a little bit of trouble. So yeah, it was always interesting. There wasn't a dull moment. And but it was. I did again. It was I had a great time there. We made a couple of grand finals, lost them to Brisbane. But yeah, it was a big club, and they're going well again at the moment. So they'd had a bad year or two, but last year they were good again. And I think it's like all codes, to be honest. When your big clubs are up and firing, I think it is good for the code, because it just creates a lot more interest, and the ratings are big, and the news is big, and when you get to play them, your crowds are big, and so the bigger clubs in Melbourne, when they're firing, it's good for the comp.
Hey, let's start with the women then. Going beautifully. The minor premiers already into the prelim. Get a week off to just recharge batteries. It's been great, and mate, they're playing good footy.
They are. They've been super consistent. I mean, we lost the one game to Richmond, who we happened to beat on the weekend, and everyone's still a bit unsure how that happened. But that was grand final morning, and it was a windy, tough day, and we somehow didn't win that game. But pretty much every other game we've been in total control, and they've clearly deserved to finish on top. And then we had a good win last week, and as you say, that week off I think is really important, and just allows you to freshen up. And they were at training last night, and you could hear the energy, and they're in good shape. And we play the winner of Adelaide and Collingwood, who we've not long beaten, long ago beaten them. So we're hopeful that whoever we play, I mean, it'll be hard, but that we can get the chocolates and get into a grand final.
A little bit of confusion or insecurity about the venue for that one?
Yeah, it's just we're at Springfield now. We got in 2.5 weeks ago, and the grass only got laid just before we got there. So it was funny, they were out mowing it yesterday, and I always laughed to myself, if you can't grow grass in Queensland, I'm not sure where you can grow it, because I know my backyard, it's bloody easy to grow, but So it's just taking a little bit of time to knit, and so we're unsure about whether we'll be able to play that game if we get there in a fortnight's time, and then there was a little bit of a discussion about the Gabba because there was a Shield game there that may have been able to move, and then there was 3 weeks from the grand final to the first test, and then what was that going to do to the wicket? And I mean, the fortunate thing about the girls is they don't chop it up like the men do. They're obviously a lot lighter, and they don't chop it up much. But anyway, there's some discussions being had at the moment because Metricon's got Guns N' Roses, I think, is playing there. So, yeah, it's a bit of a perfect storm of trying to find a ground to play. But, look, we'll get something sorted and hopefully we do that in the next little while.
So is the Gabba still a chance? Are you still on that path?
But we've spoken to Stadiums Queensland about that, and there's been some discussions with cricket. I think, and look, everybody's trying to work to a solution, and this is a one-off. Like, it won't ever happen again because then our ground will be fine. If the grand final was a month's time, there wouldn't be any issue at all. We just play it at Springfield and off we go. So it's just that because the season got moved forward, our build was always going to be finished around this time of year, and then the season got moved from a January, back to August, and then so the ground wasn't ready for that. It would have been ready if we started in January, obviously. But look, I think Hills knows better than me. But I think the Shield moving to Allan Border wouldn't be a big issue. It'll just be about the decision about whether playing a game of footy is going to interrupt preparing the wicket for, I think it's December 17 when we play South Africa. But I think there's some chats. I mean, the curators are thinking that should be okay, but
righto, that's good.
It is cricket season, so it's cricket's call. So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, it's not that we're going to have a bit of this. I'd say in the lead up to the Olympics and the demolition of the Gabba and those sorts of things.
Yeah, well, that's right, and that's going to be interesting in itself. Where everybody goes, and whether even Cricket Australia schedule tests in Brisbane when the Gabba's down, all those sort of things. I mean, that's a bit down the track, but still, it's not that far down the track. So there's some, it's going to be, everyone's going to have their juggling hats on. So.
Righto, so the women are going well. What is there any trading still going on, and or is the draft now your focus?
No, the draft's the next thing. It's on later this month. I think it's the 28th. So we've got our 2 father sons, Will Ashcroft and Jasper Fletcher. So we'll go to the draft and pretty much pick those 2 guys. That's about it. But Will go in the first couple. Jasper's probably in the top 15 or so, 15 to 20. So they're both really good players. So after our trade period where we got Jack Gunston and Josh Dunkley, and then we had these 2 really good young guys, we think we've had a really good pre-season. So and then everyone's back. Well, the 1 to 4 years come back on that same day, that 28th, and the old fellas like Zorks, and then they come back on the 5th of December. They get an extra week. So it won't be long before they're all back in the building, and it just coincides with the AFLW finishing. So we'll have one group going in and the other one going out for a well-deserved spell.
I haven't been out there yet, but they tell me the setup is just sensational. Was it Chris Fagan commenting on the gym, and he's travelled the football world as they do in the off seasons, and he said the gym, etc., is one of the best he's ever seen.
There's no doubt it's world class. I mean, I was lucky with Fags a couple of years ago. We went to the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles and places like that, and our facilities is better than theirs. We've got a massive indoor area, as you say, a gym, and everything's unbelievable. I mean, we did spend $80-odd million on it, so it's entitled to be good. But it's out of this world. It's easily the best facility in this country. But as I said, I reckon it's better than a lot of the places we've been to when we were overseas. So, you boys better come out and have a look.
Yeah, we will come out. Hey, all right. Well, we mentioned
we start to quiver with gyms.
Yeah. I break out in a rash near gyms.
I haven't seen it much myself. It looks good. Walked past it a few times. Yeah.
Hey, Fags, he's obviously back at work, and I know you're limited about what you can say with the AFL investigation into Hawthorn, etc. What can you say? What can you tell us? And what are your plans as CEO for for Chris Fagan's involvement?
Yeah, look, we've obviously we made the decision to bring him back. I mean, in the early piece, it was just sort of decided that Fags should take a leave of absence. It was more to just take the heat out of the whole thing at the time, because it was a pretty sensational story at the time. And then as time's gone on, we just felt that once they got the panel in place and then the terms of reference, that there was a process to go through. And Chris has always said he's going to, he wants to put his hand up and clear his name. And look, and because it's different with us, because we've known him, he's been with us for 6 years, so we know him, we know his character. We believe what he says when he tells us about his involvement or lack of involvement in all of this. And so, I think it was right that he come back, and now he'll get the opportunity to put his side of the story, and then hopefully, that clears him, and then we just get on with life as we normally do.
Yeah, well, these terms of reference that have been set and the inquiry's structured and ready to go, but if important parties to this investigation aren't going to participate, is this the right forum to sort this out?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, it's a hard one, because I think it's, from the guys, the Clarko and probably Chris and Jason Burt, they want the opportunity to, probably refute what's being said. And if those people aren't participating, I'm not sure how that happens. I think there might be some written submissions that you might be able to, challenge, if you like. But it's not like a traditional court where, if somebody stands up and says something, then you can cross-examine and, maybe find holes in their story or whatever, whatever you try and do during a cross-examination. But, that's going to be an interesting challenge. But as the AFL said, they can only investigate it under their own rules. And, and if people don't want to participate, then then I think, the panel will probably just have to make a decision based on, one side of the story, I suppose, if both people aren't going to talk about it. But that's smarter people than I will work that out. It's a pretty high-powered panel, and I'm sure they'll sort through all those things.
I feel the way it's been released through the ABC leaking, opens it up to going to court soon after.
Yeah, well, I think that's been put on the table for sure. If people aren't happy with the outcome of this investigation and the way it's been structured and conducted, then by all means you've got the opportunity to head to court and and go through that process. But I think most people are hoping that this can get a resolution, and then you don't have to go to court. But I'm sure if people are aggrieved after it, then that's obviously an option.
Yeah, we've got to step lightly on it, and the investigation is underway from what I read via the AFL.
It is. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, mate.
Yeah, that might be me done now talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I agree with you. You're limited in what you can say, and it's an investigation that is very, very important, and we'll get the results as Gil wants them just before Christmas.
Yep, hopefully that all pans out that way. Yep.
All right, mate. Well, it's exciting times for the club. You've got the AFLW just they're firing. They're into a prelim final. Hopefully they'll be able to host a grand final here. You've got the likes of Dunkley and Gunston on the books. You'll have, hopefully shortly, Will Ashcroft and Jasper Fletcher. And you've got a hell of a team that's done good things over the last few years. So it's a lot to look forward to.
There it is. And we just put the membership on sale yesterday, and it's going really well. So, it is an exciting time. Hopefully everybody gets on board, and I think we'll have a draw early in December. So it's all sort of coming together, and you know how it's like. It's like we sort of it'll be on you before you know it.
Yep.
So hopefully, everybody gets on board, and we'll get the cricket season done, and a little bit of tennis, and then the focus comes back to football. So we'll look forward to that.